Hey everybody, welcome back to another episode of A Gardener's Journey Homestead. I am Barbara. I'm in my tunnel today. And today I'm planting up some stuff. I am planting up some stuff and I'm going to at least plant some flowers. I have the itch, y'all. Something is getting planted today. I don't care what the last frost date says. Something is going in the soil today. So I thought I'd turn the camera on, let you guys follow along with me, and let's go. Okay, for those that are brand new to me, I am in Zone 7A. I'm in Tennessee, and I am a new gardener. This is going to be my third summer planting, and so I just take you along with me on my journey. I always say that gardening is a journey, meaning you don't arrive at a certain destination. You don't get perfect, in an instant. It takes time and we learn as we go. So that's what this channel is all about. I'm just taking you along my journey as I garden, as I preserve, as I cook food from scratch, as I do all the things as we're trying to build our homestead and our farm. So it's the weather here has been just ridiculous, right? So I've talked about in my past videos this week, I've talked about how my last frost date is a week past, right? And we haven't had a frost, but we certainly have had temperatures in the upper 30s, like 35, 36, 37, somewhere along in there. And, it's hovering around the 40 mark. And today it is just dreary. It's rainy. There is not a piece of sun in the sky, and it wasn't a piece of sun in the sky yesterday. So although the temperature, I would say it's mild, like the high is like 60 and then the lows are like, between 38 and 42. That's what it's been for the last week. And when I look at the 10-day forecast, that's the way it's going to be for the next 7 days at least. I saw a couple of temperatures at night at like 50 and 52 is like 2 nights, and it's like right back down to 40. So it has been a challenge in terms of deciding when to plant crops, especially in my outside garden. But I'm in the tunnel today, and one of the first things we're going to do is we're gonna play it safe, and then we're going to work our way up. I'm actually going to be potting up one of my houseplants that I got from my sunroom. And so this is a uh-oh. Let's see if I can get it here. Let's see if I can move you around. I guess I can get my camera bag out of the way. Okay, so this is one of my house plants that I bought. It's doing really, really well, but it's still in the container that it came in. And I had it just kind of like sit in a decorative pot. But it's time for it to be potted up into its own pot. I'm not sure what kind this is, but so for those that are new, I have a sunroom that we had built as an extension to our house. And so that's my space to be able to look outside, to go and kind of get away. And sometimes, like just instead of working in my office, I can just take my laptop out there and work. But it's, I have it as like all windows, and I have house plants in there. And I've never grown houseplants. This is my first time really growing houseplants. I have two in my house, and they came from a funeral. So that didn't really count. No, I have one in my house that came from a funeral. So that doesn't really count. I mean, I haven't killed it, but that doesn't really count. So I've been buying house plants to go in my sunroom, and what I've been looking for is just really stuff that appeals to me aesthetically, like stuff that I think that looks cute or pretty. If you've been here a while, I love pretty things. I love for things to look good. So I've been playing around with like different textures. So I like this because it's kind of like vining, so to speak, and kind of sprawly. It's like this light green color. I do have like some darker green, but I'm just kind of going for a mixture of different textures, different looks, and all of that. So the thing that's special today is that I'm actually potting it up into a pot that, not that I didn't make the pot, but I painted the pot. My daughter loves to paint, and so when my daughter was home on spring break, we went to this pottery place and did pottery. So if you guys have done that before, you pick out the piece of pottery that you want, and then you paint it the colors that you want, and then they put it in the kiln or the oven or something and fire it up. Okay, so first, before I show you my pot, let me just say my daughter likes art, right? I like spending time with my daughter. I'm not saying that I'm an artist or creative. So this does not look stellar. I'm just going to tell you that up front. It doesn't look good, but it is my work. Okay? So, of course I picked a pot to paint because that's what appealed to me. I was like, "Oh, you know what? I can paint it and put it in my sunroom." When I got it, I was like, "Ooh, this is not good." But here it is, okay? Here is my pot. So of course they supplied the pot. I didn't, because I'm not a creative type person in that way. I struggle with how to decorate it. And there was some two other girls at the studio with us, like was on the other side of the on another table, like right across from us. And they, one of the girls, no, both of them had this pot, right? It looked like something out of a magazine, like it looked like it was Pinterest worthy. And I was like, that is beautiful. Like, I wanted to say, can you do mine? But that probably would have been inappropriate. But anyway, so I just went with like a green and then like a gray at the bottom, just because the room is like blue and my house is like a blue and gray or whatever. And then I called myself doing some type of like stencil and putting like a little flower there. So y'all, it doesn't look the best. It was looking kind of plain. So then I wrote the word plant on it. But you know what? I did it with my own hands, and it's just going in my sunroom. Like, I would never gift this to somebody, but I made it, and I figured I'm gonna use it. So that is what we're gonna do. We're gonna actually pot this up and put it from here to in here. So there is some hungry or ferocious bee that's buzzing around. So I had to like be on guard. So we're just gonna put some soil in here, some fresh new soil, and then we're just going to take it out of this. All of my houseplants so far, I probably have had them, let's see, maybe 6 months, maybe. The sunroom's probably been finished, what is this, April? He probably finished it like maybe October-ish, somewhere along in there. So we're going to put that in here. And then just add some more soil. And hopefully, and you know what, this pot almost may not be big enough, but it's going to be big enough today. I hate the whole up potting thing with the house plants because, you know, they tend to get big and they're harder to carry, so to speak. But this pot is bigger than the one that it's in by a little bit, so I figure it'll have some new space that it didn't have before. It'll have some new space. Let me know if you guys are into, I need to take some of that out. Okay, and then start. Let me know if some of you guys are into houseplants as well. If you know what kind of plant this is, let me know, because I don't know. I just bought it at a nursery. I go to the nurseries and I see, okay, what's a texture that I don't have? What's a design or a color that I don't have? Because I wanted to have like some variety. I probably need to do like a video of my sunroom and show you my houseplants if you're interested. But all I can do is just show you what I have. I'm definitely not a houseplant, what do you call it, expert by no stretch of the imagination. You see, I don't even know what the name of this is. But because I like flowers and because I like plants and because I like all of that, then I am getting into it. And so far, everything that I have bought, I haven't killed. It's all still very much alive. So yeah, and I think that they are forgiving. So I try to water like once every couple of weeks. Sometimes I do, sometimes I don't. I'll go in there, I'm like, oh, looks a little droopy. Let me give some water, and then it just bounces right on back. So everything in there still looks relatively good, if I must say so myself. So, look at that. It's all sprawling out. You can't even see the word plant. Oh, look at that. It's not too bad. Not too shabby. It's going to go in my sunroom, and it'll just remind me that I did it. That I did it. All the other stuff. Maybe I should have like spaced it to where you could see the word plant. I feel like it's all like sprawly on one side. I don't know. Was it like that when I showed it to y'all before? I just put it in there straight down. Maybe the way the pot is situated. I don't know. But here's the finished product. Look at that. Y'all, if I did something wrong, tell me. Y'all put it in the comments, okay? Put it in the comments. Okay, so that's project number 1. We have something in the soil in a pot. So the next thing that we're going to do is I'm going to go to one of my circular beds that have flowers. Where right now it has lettuce in it. We're actually going to pull up the lettuce. I know. Y'all know how I feel about taking something up that's doing well, and but it has to go because we have plenty of other places where lettuce is. I have like one, two, three beds of lettuce right now as we're awaiting for the summer stuff. So I'm gonna let the other beds of lettuce hang out, but the stuff that's in the circular bed is gonna have to go. And I've harvested off of it at least 4 times, at least. So let's go over there and clear that out, and then we're gonna plant some stuff in there. So the bed is only half full. We have like 3 things of lettuce, and then the rest is empty. So we're actually going to take this lettuce up. I actually just harvested this like literally 2 days ago, and you can see that it's already grown back. And I actually ate it today because I had a salad for lunch, and it was so good. But y'all, I have really 3.5 beds of lettuce right now. So this is gonna come up now. Could I try to put it somewhere else? I could, but I'm kind of out of space when it comes to the lettuce bed. So this is going to come up, and then we're going to kind of amend the soil and then put our flowers and some herbs, which is what these beds are designed for. So I have 2 of these, one on each side. The other one has herbs in it, and this one I've been using usually like for flowers and things like that, and herbs as well. So we got to say goodbye to this lettuce, but y'all, we have plenty more. Amended the soil and put new potting mix in here that was a blend of potting mix and worm castings. This is the local, not local to me, but that nursery that I went to near Chattanooga, this is local to them. It was made by or put together by like a local farmer in the area. So I thought that was neat. So I kind of placed my plants out. So what I'm going to plant in here is basil, marigolds, and I have some Dusty Miller. Let's start with this and then kind of see how we do. I was going to plant thyme in here, but thyme is highly invasive, so I don't want to put that in here. I'll probably just put that like in a pot or something. So let's see how we can do this. That felt good. That felt so good. Look at my little dirt manicure. That felt so good to put my hands in the dirt and get something planted. So I was feeling so good as I was planting because everything in there, with the exception of what I just added, but everything in there is stuff that I grew from seed. The last 2 things that I added in there were parsley and rosemary. I did not grow those 2 things from seed. My parsley didn't do well. I do have a rosemary that I grew from seed that I could have put in there, but that one was a little bit more established. So because of the weather and all that, I thought that would be better. But I'm excited about this bed. So I have some 2 Genovese basils. I have a cardinal basil. I have some white swan marigolds, parsley and rosemary, and then a couple of Dusty Miller just for aesthetics. So that is done. That is going to produce, and y'all, it smells so good. When I was down there planting The rosemary and the basil, amazing. Amazing. So that feels good. I think what I'm going to do next is I'm going to plant some basil and marigolds in some certain spots in my tomato rows, like where I know the tomatoes are going to go. Like I can go ahead and plant that stuff now. I think I'm going to do that. I didn't got happy, y'all. Got happy. So let's go see. We got plenty of stuff to choose from. Let's go see what we have and what we're going to put out. But here's a shot before we go see what else we have. You can see the stuff that I planted, y'all. Doesn't it look so good? Green up against the dark soil. I feel good about it. I feel great. So let's go see what else we have that we can play with. So while I'm getting happy, let me refer to my crop plan to see how many. Oh, what's this sticky? Something sticky on my paper. Let's see how many basil did I say I was going to plant in my rows. So y'all know I do a crop plan and I kind of lay out where all of my stuff is going to go. Just because I have so many spaces and a large space, I want to make sure that I'm maximizing my space. I want to make sure that there's no oops like, oh, I can only put 15 tomato plants in this row. I have 45. Like, I need to know. So let's pull out the high tunnel crop plan. 99% done. So I kind of have my space laid out, and I've shown this before, but basically what you can see here are the 3 rows on the left that's in ground, the 2 rows on the right that's in ground. These circles right here, this is the one that we just planted. This one here on the right hand side, and then that's the other circular bed there, and then these are my raised beds. I have 4, no, 3 on each side. I had to look. I get confused with what's in here versus the back of the house. So I have 3 on each side. So this is kind of like it's drawn out the way that my space is laid out, and I've kind of mapped out what I'm gonna put where. So and on my sheet I put in the circular thing that we just left. I put in there that I was planting basil, sage, marigolds, and thyme, but I did not do the thyme because if I remember, and when I looked it up, thyme is invasive, and so I don't want to put that in my bed with all the other stuff. I'm just going to put it in a pot. And the sage I actually have in the bed on the other side, so that's why I didn't plant the sage. But we did do the basil and marigold, so we are right on track. Right on track. Okay, so in my tomato rows, that's the rows that's going to be on the right hand side of the tunnel. I can get 34 plants in each row. And so when I had mapped out my tomatoes in the first row, I've allotted for 3 basil. So we can put 3 basil in that row. And so I'll just kind of do them, one in the front, one in the middle, one in the back, somewhere along in there. And then also I have, let me just make sure my count is right. So I have 8 Rebelski in the first row. Oh, I already have the basil on here. Okay. 10, 22, 25. Okay. Oh, so the 25 included the basil, but then I wrote 3 more basil. Okay, so I still have 9 to play with. So I should be good. So we'll do 3 basil just to be safe. That's in the first row. And then the second row, it looks like I have 5 and 4, 9, 13, 16, 21, 24. So I still have 10 spaces left because when I originally did it, according to my measurements, those rows are like 45 feet long, and I think I based it on 2 feet. But when I bought the quick plant fabric that already has the holes in it, it's spaced 18 inches apart, so it gave me more holes than what I accounted for, which is good. At least I'd rather have more than I thought I was going to need versus less, right? And so I can always fill it up, or the space can be empty. But y'all know how I feel about empty spaces in the garden. I think that everything should be filled. That's my that's not a garden rule. That's just Barbara's rule. Okay, so we can do I would say 3 basil at least on each row and be safe. Maybe 3 and 2. And then on the left hand side where the peppers are going to go, I do have some sunflowers at the end of that, and I don't know if my sunflowers are in here. They may be. If so, we can kind of put those out too. So I'm like, we're ramping up. So we start off with the house plant. That's safe. It's going back in the house. Then we did a little flower bed. And the thing about it is, if for some reason it got really, really cold. Now basil likes it to be 50 degrees. There are a couple of nights that it's going to be like 46, 48. So I am pushing the limits, right? I'm hoping that with the tunnel being closed that maybe it won't get to 48, right? And maybe it'll survive. But y'all, I think I have 30 basil plants. I have plenty of basil. So if the 3 or 4 that we just put out don't make it, I'm covered. So again, I'm pushing the limits, but I'm also doing it in a strategic way and in a planful way, right? So again, and your risk tolerance may be different than mine. You may be like, shh, forget it. I'm gonna put all my tomatoes out. I don't care if it's 40 degrees. Do you? It's okay. But for me, I'm trying to curb my itch of planting, but also be smart about it at the same time. So let's grab our basil and some marigolds. That's what we forgot. And y'all, I don't know if you can hear. It's about to pour down raining again. So let's grab some of that and then go out there and put it in the ground. And maybe that'll be enough for today. We'll see. We may want to do more. So I have 4 Durango red marigold. That color is going to make me happy. If I can't put my tomatoes out, but I can walk in and I can see that color. Then I have 2 Genovese basil. So we're going to put 2 marigolds over here, 2 marigolds over there, and then 2 basils over there. So that's what we're going to do. Okay, y'all, I got it done. So I was going to pan and let you see it, but it's starting to get dark. And because it's only a few plants that are kind of tiny, it's going to be hard for me to kind of zoom in and let you really see. So I'm about to water all this in and then call it a night because I hear thunder, storms coming, and it's about to be dark. So that's my cue. But I'm looking over here so I can tell you what I planted. I did 2 marigolds and 3 sunflowers. I did 3 sunflowers at the base of each of the rows on the left hand side. I always like to have that like as a border or as a backdrop. So I did 3 daydream sunflowers, and then I did 2 marigolds, and then on the right hand side I did 2 marigolds and 2 basil. So we got those in the ground, and we're gonna stop there. And we got the flower thing done, and we even harvested some lettuce in the process. So I'm feeling much better. I feel like, and we did our house plant. So we did quite a few things on this video. I got my hands in soil. They are dirty, and I am okay with that. It feels good. Like I told you, something was going to get planted today. But I'll keep taking you along on the journey when we're able to plant the majority of the stuff. And we'll just kind of go from there. But be encouraged if you haven't been able to plant yet. Look, go get your house plant, put your hands in some soil. If something is going to make you feel better, then just do it. And for those that are patiently waiting, keep the faith. We are going to be able to plant soon one day. But thank you guys so much for joining me today as I kind of just took you on my journey in my tunnel of getting some things planted just to kind of get the ball rolling and just to do my soul some good. So thank you so much. If you like what you're seeing on this channel, please subscribe to my channel. Like this, comment. I would love to hear what you're thinking and what your thoughts are and any suggestions you may have for me or for the community. Remember, gardening is a journey. Let's grow together. See you next time, friend.